Welcome to Eden TV, and today we're going to talk about one of my favourite topics, fruit, and in particular fast fruit. These are fruit that will grow in I guess, or give you a harvest within weeks or months. I mean, I might stretch some of those out to, so perhaps slightly more than 12 months, but most of them are well within a growing season. And I'm really keen on sort of because they're getting people introduced to these things, because they're kind of like gateway drugs to to actually having more fruit in the garden. A little bit of early success is really important, particularly when you're trying to excite kids about growing their own food. Fruit is obviously one of their favourite things, and they need results. So I've got a selection of things which really do work well and grow quickly in the garden and are lots of fun. So probably one of the all-time favourites is the strawberry. Very easy to grow, and lots of these. Pretty much most of the things that I'm going to mention today, if you see it in a 200 ml pot, this sort of size pot, there's a very good chance that you'll be able to get a reasonable harvest off it, and in the sort of in the season. So I mean, a lot of them will do it from very small pots or even from seeds, but 200 ml pot will almost sort of guaranteed results. So strawberries, they like to be in a sort of medium sort of sunny sort of spot, not in the west, not in the baking western sun, but very easy to grow. And you can teach the kids, because it's nice how they're very straightforwardly morph from being a flower into being the fruit. The petals just fall off and you can see the fruit emerging, and it's very apparent. So that's quite exciting. And then the other aspect of the strawberries is the fact that the way they reproduce. So they send out on little sort of umbilical cords, little runners, so with little plantlets on the end with tiny sort of proto roots. And again, that's actually quite exciting, and the kids can actually watch those new things root up. So that's a really good one, an obvious one. Another one that grows very well in Sydney. Actually, I should have a nibble of these as I go. The next one I think is the blueberry. These are actually quite large blueberries. Most of the blueberries that grow well in Sydney, the blueberries are a bit smaller, so prepare yourself for that prospect. But where's my blueberry gone? Oh, here's my blueberry. So most of the blueberries are in flower now. I mean, this is actually a relatively small pot, but still those flowers will deliver a small number of blueberries. I can see some even starting right now. A slightly bigger pot, again, you're not going to be setting up a shop, but you'll certainly get a sweet reward, and then it will grow on and become more of a bush. So good in the ground, also great in a sort of 300 ml pot. Eventually, that kind of sort of size, and you get a nice bush going. It works very well in the Sydney climate, and it provides quite a long harvest. So a good sized bush, you'll get like a few fruit each day, or like a palmful every few days for quite a long time, and then it sometimes takes a break, but it goes on for months. So it's they are fun. Another one that I really like is the passion fruit, and I'm a particular fan of the red Panama passion fruit. So I guess the one that most people are very familiar with is the black passion fruit. That's the one that fruits in summer. Put the pulp onto your pav at Christmas time. But this is my favourite. It seems to produce, well, in my garden has produced incredibly well, and the great thing about it is it actually fruits in winter. So the ones in my garden are just finishing now, and from probably a sort of 5-meter fence covered in these passion fruit, I'll probably get, I don't know, 300, 400, that kind of thing each season. But the thing with passion fruits is that they do have a life, and they become progressively woody and less productive. So after somewhere between 3 and 5 years, you need to replace them. So that's something to bear in mind. But the red Panama, and this is the one, like the black, this black one, which would normally do its fruiting around Christmas time, probably isn't going to deliver in this year, whereas this growing season, but this one will. So if you can get that in a nice sunny spot, north facing, you're all good. Okay, another favourite of mine from a shading perspective is the Tamarillo. Okay, otherwise known as a tree tomato. It's actually in the same family as the tomato, and I'm going to. It grows into probably a 3 to 4 metre tree. I'm actually going to cut this in half this way because it kind of looks cool. And you eat it like this. It's a little bit tart, but at the same time it's actually beautiful. So that's a really good one, and it's a very useful shade tree around the the veggie patch or whatever. So strongly recommend that for its shading prospects. This is another one that's again beautiful little glossy leaf tree. So this is a strawberry guava or a cherry guava. So it's very sweet, but with it's quite tart, and there's these little pips that are they're quite, you don't want to crunch into them, you sort of want to swallow them, but absolutely beautiful flavour. Yeah, there is a bit of sort of pineapple or strawberry in there. Grows really well. I picked these this morning off my tree, so fruiting through winter into early spring, and grows really strongly. Again, it's got a lovely interesting bark that's sort of a bit like a crepe myrtle, sort of a slightly peely, very smooth, and that grows really well. And again, if you have it in a sort of a 200 ml pot, that's pretty much guaranteed to fruit in this season. And there are yellow cherry guavas as well, and their pits are softer, so you can actually just crunch through them, and it is a bit sweeter. So the yellow one is fantastic as well. Peaches and nectarines, they generally fruit pretty quickly, and so a good sized tree, that sort of. I mean, this is a dwarf one. Will generally give you a fruit or two, and then in the following seasons you'll get more fruit there. And the peaches and nectarines actually grow quite strongly, so they work well. Not an enormous amount of fruit to start with, but again, you will get some fruit. I've snuck in here my favourite fruit in my garden, because it's my front hedge, and this is the Nagami kumquat. Now, with all citrus, the standard advice is that you plant the citrus, the tree that you buy, the standard tree you buy from the nursery, you plant it and you knock off the fruit in the first year, because you want it to focus on root development. Now, the interesting thing with the Nagamis is that they actually flower and fruit very late. They flower late in the season after they've really worked on their roots for all of spring and early summer. So they flower around Christmas. They actually fruit in the middle of winter, like the rest of the citrus. So I'm going to let you, if you plant one of those, I'm going to let you actually let it set some fruit in its first year. And if you get one of the more advanced ones, no holds barred. It's a delightful fruit. And this is what I do with this, apart from making all sorts of alcoholic beverages and curries and stuff like that. I scatter that through a winter salad, and this rind here is very sweet, and that's just lovely citrusy tart, and it just adds a real zing to a salad. Okay, and then we've got the whole blackberry family. They look pretty ordinary at the moment. I mean, there's a blackberry re-emerging from its winter rest, but So blackberries, boysenberries, all those sorts of things. Again, they grow quickly, and raspberries, they grow quickly, and it will give you a harvest in the year, and then they go through a real sort of seasonal cycle where you kind of cut them back down and all the rest of it. But they can be a little bit prone to fruit fly if they fruit too late in the season. So you want to get ones that are early and mid-season fruits, or otherwise you have to sort of give them a little bit of protection. Now the elephant in the room. A few weeks back, I gave the quiz question, "What is this?" and nobody came back online with the right answer. I think John did come and see me in store, and he told me it was a Kiwano, African horn melon, the only source of moisture in the Kalahari Desert for much of the year apparently. But it's a in the melon cucumber kind of family, and basically there's a lovely sort of pulp in here, which is, it's like a very sweet cucumber. There's essence of cucumber in there, but there's a lot of sweetness. It's really quite delicious. So well worth growing. Yeah, so it sort of grows like a melon. You can train it to sort of grow up high like we did here on the top of our little raised wooden area. And then staying with this family, then there's the melons. Now the thing with the melons is that they do need space. 10 to 12 weeks of growth, so you kind of want to get onto them reasonably quickly, but they are fun. And actually this one's called Sugar Baby. You can grow from seed, and we do occasionally get it in as a seedling. That one is a little bit quicker, so that's more like 10 weeks. But most of them takes about 12 weeks. So as soon as it starts getting warm, it's great to get those into the ground, and in fact you can plant your seeds now. So that's a fun thing, but a little bit longer growing, and you do need some space to make that work. Then I guess stretching the definition of fruit, and these are technically fruit. Chilies are a very easy thing to grow, and there's basically heats for every member of the family and every kind of palate. Some are basically like capsicums. This is the Thai one we looked at the other week, which has all the colours of the rainbow and slightly different flavours as it ripens. Then just addressing again another. This one is more of a slightly larger tree, but this is pretty much guaranteed to fruit every year from as soon as you get it. Fruits in spring. So this is a mulberry. So mulberries are just very productive. So they basically come out in fruit before they have leaves, and then they ripen in early spring. And if you give them a trim after they've done their initial fruit, they'll actually give you a small amount of fruit, a sort of second harvest. And in fact, you can probably do multiples of those. And then this shouldn't really be active right now, but you can see it's actually beginning to make its fruit. Another member of the potato family. This is called a pepino, and this will grow into it looks like a sort of small melon with sort of purple stripes on it. And yeah, it grows very well through the spring and summer. So this one's actually survived the winter, and it's got a head start on its spring thing. So these will be coming into store hopefully in the next few weeks. And yeah, that's a very quick and easy thing to grow. So I hope with all of those selections, there's something that takes your fancy, and we'd love to see you in store to help you select the right one that will fit your little space or big space. So hope to see you soon, and don't forget to share and like this if you find this information useful. All right, see ya.